Welcome back. And I was just really excited to talk about a new sequence. And before I kind of talk about this ending of February and beginning of most of March, the fall of March, let's call it, I want to start with a poem. Artificial, this wounded plant is my friend. Molds beneath the walls like days old grown food. Holistic needs reaching through the wood. Stillness on the floor like a teenager. Dancing in the dark because the LED is blinding enough. Music keeps singing about what it's singing about. Green through the fog. Not a curse, a personal honed skill. Lottery ticket. Even though some card fell. King of Hearts, chrome like an image, but even chrome is artificial in some perspectives. I thought this was really important to kind of begin with as the beginning of kind of this sequence of life has felt like this. Um, I kind of had a feeling when, the end of February had happened, I was like, okay, that's the end of that sequence, and the pattern shifted, and sometimes things trickle into, seasons. It's like a stretching, there's things on the opposite end and, more at a complete other. And sometimes you can feel the weight of both ends really pulling at each other. This is kind of the onset of ominous winds, which is what I would like to call this kind of chapter in life. And it exists between, February 24th and the 13th of March. I would really say that um, it's kind of a short duration as well. And the outset of this period really started circulating for me maybe around the 10th. But it was something really this past Friday that just completely cut something off. And I woke up on the weekend so refreshed and just felt like something was completely different. But we can discuss that in the next sequence of life. Um, but I did kind of want to go over kind of everything that this period really felt like, this little existing period. And a lot kind of happened. I completely deleted Instagram, which is really sad because I have my sequence 2 poem on there, and it's the only place it exists right now. But I'm standing firm on what I feel is necessary, and I have this calling to really cut out social media, for myself and really find like a re-grounding, um, with kind of my own things and patterns. And that's why I even posted a video in the first place, was because I had just did that, and it existed in this period of, ominous winds. It was crazy that I kind of wrote this poem about perspective, and I'll get to that a little bit towards the end of this video, but this felt like very fresh at the time to what I was feeling. I don't know. And I kind of wrote this just, I don't know, like inspired, I guess, by everything. It was kind of inspired by the specific moment I was in, and I wrote it as a post on Substack. Substack is just a great platform if you are a writer, and it's an even better kind of platform just to get your thoughts out and not be in this space that can be really negative. Um, Though I have discovered that our algorithms can also really be shifted into a negative space depending on how much we feed it. So if we're in a negative state of mind and period, it is and can be an aid in prolonging that. So it is really helpful, like if you notice your algorithm is shifting a little bit, to kind of um, reshift it back into some of your interests and ground yourself again. So, like, along with that, I really also got off of Twitter. I really think if I want to keep a relationship with Twitter, and I'm kind of just saying this out loud to, hold myself accountable, but I really think I need to merge my existing Twitters and just have it be for purely the things that bring me joy, which tend to be like a lot of, source where anime updates are. I really, really kind of only use Twitter for that now. Every once in a while, I find very inspirational things, but I find that when I'm in a state of mind and I find like things on Twitter, that is one of the prime examples of, you know, things will just continue to circulate if you're in it and you're kind of feeding it. So I also had to get off of Twitter to really stop feeding this thing that I wasn't seeing results in. Um, and so in some of my like dispelled absence with social media, and I'm at a very beginning stage with it. Like I don't even want to get myself off track because it's really easy to derail. Um, Kind of like the workout like perspectives, I suppose. The whole like you see result by going to the gym. Not that you're at the gym and a result is of occurrence of it, but the perspective and the mental shift of going constantly is kind of what provides that energy and that momentum. In the same sense, like if you take a few days of a hiatus, it's fine. But if you're giving yourself past um, like a grace period before you return, it's easy to just stay in that outside momentum. The same can be said with our personal activities and the things that ground us. So for me, for example, not journaling for a really long time is really damaging for myself. Like, and I found myself in that period of just not really doing that, not talking to myself, not questioning things, not, seeing patterns. And it's really detrimental to my growth for me. And that's how it works. It doesn't have to work that way for everybody. But yeah, I was noticing things like that. Um, and so it felt very do or die. And that's where Ominous Winds really thrives in this existence of perspectives, and that shift, that outcome, and kind of the wind that pulls you out of and inward at the same time. Don't you just love words and talking? But I wrote this post and I wanted to say it here because it was such a beautiful moment to me, and I want it to be kind of everywhere. And I said this question: what is a moment that makes you feel certain? I think feeling 100% certainty is so rare, vulnerable, and terrifying all at once. The other night, I'd been restless, unable to sleep, and I went into my living room, laid out on my hardwood floor that creaks, chips, and sinks in places but is beyond comfortable. I laid in front of my heater, which runs vertically along a column placed in the middle of my apartment's floor plan, obnoxious but convenient. Allowing the heat to blast along my body, I put on my chunkier headphones as to mimic a halo around my head, drowning everything else in the world around me out. Listening to Croak Dream by Puma Blue in full. The challenge was essentially to listen to a record in full with 100% intention. It's been some genuine time since I've just placed myself without movement and singularly focused on the sounds at hand. I laid along the floor bed, heat warming my body, muffling any sounds around me, creating a precision along the already noise canceling device on my head. Near me, I had a stack of playing cards, golden in shimmer. Picking them up, a few cards fell next to me while I lay. The first card visible, I noticed, was the King of Hearts. This was the first time I'd felt certain in a long time. And this is so true. This was about 6 days ago, and that I wrote this. And the actual event that I'm talking about happened February 27th, pretty close to the start of, you know, Ominous Winds. Just a few days after. And yeah, so I thought it was really important to kind of share this. I had kind of wrote that poem, a few days after. I will start a playlist, name it something like March, but this period of time, I'm kind of writing things more like sequence 3, Sequence 2 just stuck, but none of the sequences kind of exist forward. And if you're new here, because I'm very multi layered, I can get very confusing for people. But um, I just really enjoy making playlists. And I feel like they really are the soundtrack to our lives. It's a little bit deeper than that for me. And so in these videos, they kind of act as these diaries for me to really vocalize kind of the art, music, and everything that shaped like the environment happening, around me. And my poetry does that. Writing really does that for me. Being able to read new things, being able to feel the connection to everything we enjoy around um, our internal selves and external selves. It's all correlated. So again, this video is a little bit different because it is like starting with a poem, which I've never done before. It's disrupting me even. Um, but yeah, it was really the essence of everything and how this started. So I'm going to go through kind of the photos I took this month because I just want to revisit it. Um, I was gonna have, because I organize all my photos um, in their own little album as well. So this is gonna go in an album also named Ominous Winds 1313, as I said this. And when I just so happen to feel connected to social media again, I'll post it and I will post the poems along with it, with what it was. But it's important to me that all of this was mine at the time that it happened and it occurred, and that it's protected for a little bit of time. Once I'm in a new kind of energy field, then I feel like it's safe to post things that happened in the past. It's not gonna fucking matter to other people when this shit happened. Um, but it matters to me. So that's kind of how I've been doing things lately. And I don't think, sometimes things blend over, but I got the photo for Ominous Winds very early on. And it was originally the cover for Sequence 2 until I really went through the period of Sequence 2 and I found this accidental image that really had this painting like quality to it. And it just completely represented that more. And I realized I was in this moment of looking slightly ahead or getting this feeling slightly ahead. So Sequence 2 really started when this photo was taken, and it was taken on the 24th of February. And I said it felt. Wow. Yeah, it did. Did. No, I see it. Going through these photos, I'm just like, wow, yeah, like this really shifted at this time. Um, it's giving like an onset feeling. Sorry, like the point of some of these videos is that I'm actually just capturing and hmm, yep. Yeah, it's like it's cool because in some of the pictures, like you start to get that feeling of the newness, like this difference in light that's changing. Um, and I'll explain what I mean a little bit more, like once I actually get through these photos. But let me do something. I'm gonna put all these pictures in the album. What I like to do with photography, and I mean not really photography, because not every photo in here is photography. But I mean, you could argue that it is. You could argue that every photo in here is photography, even if it's a screenshot of something. But I wouldn't consider a screenshot of something a photograph. It is a memory, and it is a captured thing, but no. No. See, with See, I haven't gone through my photos like this, and I ideally before the video wanted to have the photos kind of chosen, but in the essence of making these videos, they're supposed to be very natural, and I kind of liked the idea of going to kind of maybe start to curate it with you guys a little bit, but more in a sense of I like to scroll through the video. I mean, sorry, certain things throw me off a little bit. So I seen certain numbers and I'm like, okay. But um creating the album with you guys raw lets me really talk about it raw as it should be. And okay, it says that there's two photos that are unsaved, so I have to save them first. That's stupid. Okay, dumb. So dumb. Let's see what the photos are that they even want me to save. And seeing where, the next sequence, what I would be talking about in our next video, sequence 4. I'm not going to reveal a title just yet because that's in protection mode. There's a very specific moment that happened on the morning of, and I'm just like, yeah, that was literally it. That was literally it. So I cannot wait to talk about that moment. Um, I'm not seeing these photos they wish that I would have saved. So, whatever. Let's try this again. And okay, add two. I think it did it. The crazy thing here is also that um, I haven't even named this this photography album what its title is. I just had it as like a standing title. Oops. just give it like a, oh, here I could do this. The exact font has to be saved because everything has to be connected. Okay. Title is the same in the album that it is in the playlist. And then what I like to do is really, for posting, I really like to get it to a pretty intimate number. I really do like the carousels to be like 10 or less, but sometimes it is inevitable that it'll be a couple more. I really do not like to surpass more than or like, it gets overwhelming when it gets to be close to 20. But from here, once I have everything raw in a folder, I will then clean out like what is purely personal, what I really don't want to share. I really narrow it down to the really good photography that I like. Sometimes I will throw in an intimate moment here or there, or a spiritual message here or there that that I feel could be shared. A lot of spiritual messages are really just for this. Um, there are some moments in here that actually went into sequence too because they had that essence, even though they existed within this couple days of the new sequence. Each person would only understand that based on feeling because this is just like right now sequences are based off like intuition and just pure feeling, pure heart. Um, and yeah, but then I can see where there are the moments of this newness, like this new cycle really came in hot. You know what I mean? Oh, love that. Absolutely love that. But just to talk about kind of the flow of life, I was really like, let me do something creative around my photography. So I took a couple of really nice pictures like that. Pretty proactive with just like intentionally with people. I was playing around with editing stuff just a little bit more. This was like right at my last post, like right before I deleted my shit. I posted a solid, really good 4 updates over the matter of a couple of days. So I was having fun with that, and I did a little photo shoot with the vinyl that I got from Not for Radio. It was so much fun doing that. I'm not even gonna lie. I woke up just a little bit extra earlier in my day, and to kind of sorry, let's see. I feel so dark right here. No, this light right now for some reason feels really warm, warmer than I would like it to feel. And I already have really warm lighting, and just being warm toned myself doesn't help sometimes. But anyways, oh, such a gorgeous picture. I can't even. Some of these are just so good. I'm gonna see in my concept posts, I can thread pictures however I want. So sometimes there are pictures from a little bit of that and a little bit of this, and that's what it's all about. That's curation. I don't know what to tell you. And that's where I like really feel like I'm creating something as well. But it's the fact that I have to create the playlist really intentionally and the photography really intentionally and then write out the poetry really intentionally, all in conjunction with each other. And now I am writing a lot of stuff on Substack that is really pairing with a lot of this as well. I feel like there's a level of writing my thought process about it that tends to be a little bit clearer than my vocalized version of things. um, I'm ahead of a lot of stuff this year, and I want to be really patting myself on my back for this because I am seeing things from a really long term, big perspective. I've organized a lot of things that way this year, and I've been really more intentional around the planner that I just had. So, seeing things like in this period, I've been seeing things kind of just be secured that is really putting a foot on myself in certain areas that, like, if I really miss this step in certain areas, like, won't see a good side of it. Like, and I'm not going to be happy with myself on the other side of it. So I'm not going to say what these things are, but like, looking at my album, I've gotten actually secured a couple of things that I should be taking a moment to be really proud of myself for. So I am. Um, Lots of art and cute little messages. I then had that little night with myself, and I wanted to talk about that because this moment came up in the poem, in the initial poem that I wrote. Even though I felt this onset, I just started something that was nameless. And it was really this night that Ominous Winds kind of really secured itself again. Um, and it was all because I laid on wood. I really believe in being surrounded by our elements. So I really appreciate that my home has natural wood flooring. We have a lot of natural wood everywhere, plants, and I've been looking for ways to incorporate water elements, metal as places, things like that. We always open the windows, so we're always getting fresh flow of air. There is dirt in the house, so like it's just having this balance. And so laying on the ground, the wood was really helpful, and forcing myself to just kind of lay there. And what I did was really exist and listen to this record in a meditative state. I did. I closed my eyes. I just laid my back fully on the floor and I just listened to this album in full. And I was really focusing on listening to the lyrics. A lot of times I have to look at them, like genuinely pull it up and look at them, but we should just be able to hear what somebody is saying. When I want to go in depth, you can write down the lyrics and go in depth about them. And to memorize a song, obviously you will have to look at the lyrics too. But I was really like captivated by this album, and it was the first time that I really felt like I just sat down because I have a hard time sitting down and just staying in one place and just really taking in the entirety of, the half an hour of this body of work. And when you feel intention around artistic albums that are being made, what people are saying from the body as a whole, I don't know, it's just a different experience. So I really appreciate it. And you can get that experience every time from listening to an album in full like that. But everyone's perspectives will be different. What people are trying to say in this body, in these independent bodies of work, change. It's been a very beautiful time, just absolutely adoring my dog and my cat. I've just been really embraced by them lately that I don't even know how else to explain. A lot of festival announcements have come out, and so a lot of this anticipation has been building around summer events for me, and also how the rest of the year is going to play out has been dependent on these announcements. So I've had wishful thinking to travel for a festival, but I just don't feel the time is right. I will only do that if I feel the time is right to be done. Um, it was also a deciding factor in how much we wanted to spend for our upcoming festival, which is TBD, but also changes what other activities we look like if, vacations are going to be happening or, anything like that. I haven't been looking at the camera, so sorry. But yeah, like other things really have to come up. Um, Other things shouldn't be like music and concerts and everything, as much as I love them, they can't be first place priority anymore, which is crazy because I really, really did do that. And to an extent, they are still that way. But I have so much new intention around what shows I'm going to and the reason behind them and who I'm going to see them with. Um, Things that matter really are like, did I really enjoy your body of work to even want to see how this is interpreted live? Um, Sometimes artists will release a body of work and incorporate all of their music. And so it also depends on how much of an album is incorporated. So there's that. There's if I've seen somebody a number of times, like maybe I'm oversaturated by you, especially like maybe your frequency. There are artists I really like to see every single time that they come, but that might not change their performance style or their artistic growth. It just depends. So I don't know what to say. Um, and so I haven't seen any concerts in the last two sequences, but I will be going forward in the next one. And so they're going to start to appear. Um, Movies start to really take place in this period. I also hit a point where I did prioritize myself over entertainment. Um, the Demon Slayer movie, which I absolutely love, Demon Slayer, came out in theater, and the weekend day that I set aside for a solo date for myself to go and see it, I first I sent out a couple feelers. I wanted to see if a couple of people were interested in going to see it. Um, and the morning came, and I was just like, this isn't right for today. I need to stay home. And that was the day that I actually picked up journaling again. So I came back to my the sequence really felt like coming back to my senses. Like this call is dark and deep and from the void, but it's asking for some kind of return. And so a lot of my actions have been that. And still more to come. Still more to come. Um, but yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to go too far on a tangent. I just want to continue going through these pictures and stuff. Um, Enjoy good food. I really love eating, so I really love some good food. Um, yeah, I did start to kind of almost do this video, and I will. This will happen, but I really had it in me. I was like, I really want to do this video. And I came home and I sat down and I went to film it and I just disconnected. In that moment that I sat down, that I was like, I'm excited for this. I even wrote down like a slight format. And as I got to it, I was like, this isn't it. This isn't right. So I'm happy, one, that this is the video that I'm doing today. But two, happy that I'm giving it more time to get to this playlist thing that I want to kind of record and go over. But it has to be formed properly. And I think it was because I needed this outrageous intent to, sit with myself when I was doing this playlist thing, an ideal idea. Um, but yeah, I mean, the rest of that, like a lot of art has started to find me, a lot of things that are like areas of um, intention to be secured to come towards the end of this little sequence. But I don't know. It's been a much calmer, more still little period that I've really needed, and I'm really appreciative of. And at the same time, that extra um, added time to like myself sometimes makes me feel so strangely guilty in other places because I feel like I can sense that like my quietness does and tends to hurt other people. Um, it just depends on how it's done, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of been this period. Um, I did want to talk about lastly though. That was kind of the photography and just me going through memories of the month. But to talk about the music that I really set intention behind, the things that feel like a genuine soundtrack. I didn't do the hard work to make this music. I didn't do the hard work to put out the body of work, whatever. But connecting it to be so paralleled with my life is where it feels like taking a medium that already exists and curating it to something romantic and artistically established for the inner self. And I feel like it's that magic in music that really brings out this sense of like self understanding. We find out who we are a lot through music, through a lot of things. But if you want to look at something very tangible, music is one of them. Um, and so the reason we're having this recording even today is because I sat down and did something different with my playlisting. Um, I really organized it by the connection I had with the lyrics. And also, since everything in the grand scheme of themes is connected, how this would flow from sequence two, like how this is a married process, because it is. I do it in installments, but ultimately it's all one thing. So when I look at my year back on this and I'm able to listen to this in full, it will all have been existed in the sameness, even though it evolves. So I like that a playlist can be individualized and also have a bigger picture to itself, which, if you don't know me, is actually how I do things. I really look at big pictures first, and I've had to learn how to really cut things along the way into smaller steps. So I feel like sometimes doing this is me cutting things and making sense of it so that by the time I get to the big picture, I'm like, I knew that all along. you know? But yeah. So this was a ridiculously healing learning playlist for me. Just an understanding where I'm at in life, where my thoughts are, where my actions lay, and ultimately my perspective. Um, and this is just an extremely personal and internalized playlist. So if you happen to listen to it or feel called to listen to it, please treat it with care. But Ominous Winds has so much in store. Um, it starts with Helix. This artist Night Tapes actually found me. I literally was laying on the couch, like sideways, and this music video just came on, and I was just like, holy shit, this is a song from an artist I like where I did save one song. And I said, I will get back to that album. I felt called to it. But this was a couple months ago, and just within this period, um, kind of during sequence two, I like expanded listening to this. So after listening to Puma Blues record, which I talked about laying on the floor by the fire, by the heater, sorry. The next album I really listened to was this Night Tapes, Portals, and Polarities. I felt so disconnected with it at the time, and I think I explained that in the last video, but I really just loved it. It feels so, it's a highly connected thing to me right now. And I really pieced together where like moments of this stand out. Um, oh my god, it's crazy to even talking about this like right now, but I did. I wrote everything in here in my new journal. It's a type of journal. It's a type of journal, but yeah, I really sat there and organized it based on all the lyrics that connected to me, and then I wrote kind of my thoughts on those connections and organize it based on those thoughts. So it's really kind of in depth here, but this was the organized key that I ended up coming up with, that kind of creates the flow of the songs. So, you know, this is really personal, so I won't share that, but I would really like to know how someone's experience is listening to this, the flow from beginning to end, and just everything it talks about. It starts really poetic. There's a little bit of social commentary on here because the world is happening to us no matter what. There's a lot of parallels in here. There's a lot of conversation around perspective. And there's a lot of moments that take you into a very deep void, with over questioning and then this light breaking through and introducing like areas of that grounding, that would really help kind of make the existence of change very true, because change is something that we all deal with. And regardless of if we think we have a good relationship with change or not, it is challenging regardless along the way. It exists in such a challenging state. And I feel like more than ever, I have now come to realize that while I did have a period of time where I was embracing change, I have hit a place where it was almost like a wall again, where change felt very difficult. And, you know, it's not a linear experience, it's a very bodied experience. And so I think it's important that you start this playlist, with the song called Helix, because a helix is a double, thing. It's not a linear line at all. Um, so you go through this, you go through you finally get to certainty at a point, and just a very calm understanding, I would say. I don't really want to reveal too much again. I really started these videos with kind of going through the playlist flow and stuff. But I think listening to a playlist and having that experience from start to finish can have an equal effect of like listening to an album top to bottom. And it's so personalized to the individual. So if someone you love really sends you a playlist, you should be treating it with care, and a level of intimacy, because it is an intimate thing. So I've even cut down a little bit on how long my playlists are, just because it's an intimate thing for myself. And when I feel like sharing it, it's an intimate thing for other people. Um, so I do ask to treat this with care should you listen to it. And I would love to know your thoughts, or what kind of experience you had with it while listening to it. Um, but with that, I really want to leave Ominous Winds with another poem. This really poured out of me after writing all of the um, journalistic thoughts I had on all of the lyrics I really connected with. In the twilight, I've loved you. In turn, I've loved myself warmly lit in sameness, never certain of romance in the moonlight, never certain of deepness from the sun. Within the void is the only place of true perspective of brightness, brightness shown among the moon, icy and crisp, stars faint and long, and the sun, vastness of the sun. Feelings that rise from the undercurrent, spiraling alongside each other like a double helix, slow dancing uprose from the winds, vapor uncertain. For the crashing mist coming from the closeness of the helix speed carries stretched promises, choices cold, deepened from self-made heavens. Colder, self-made hells, speeds bringing us closer to a type of end, but in the remade cycle, brightness extends. And with that, I'm going to leave this here. Always with love, Fabian. Thank you. And of course, if you like these videos, you can subscribe or whatever, but I find it so tedious, and maybe it's an area of trust I need to work on for myself to ask that of other people. But I think if something speaks to you, you'll follow it. And if it's meant to find you, it will find you. And that's that.